Welcome to the HBCU podcast. You're listening to episode 47. If you're an avid listener or just joining us for the first time, here we're joined by some awesome HBCU grads in the form of co-host and guest. We also focus on all the great things HBCU alumni are doing all over the world. On this episode, we speak with two-time Alumnus of Tuskegee University, Davie Rickenbacker. Davie currently serves as a health communications specialist at the CDC, the nation's leading public health agency. He was recently thrust into the spotlight as a contestant on CBS's Survivor and can now be found doing charity work and speaking engagements. During this episode, we discuss his HBCU legacy, his rise to reality TV stardom, and his love for Tuskegee. Keep listening. It's the HBCU podcast.
My name is Davie Rickenbacker. I am a double degree holder from Tuskegee University. I received my bachelor's in 2010 and my MPH in 2016.
All right, well, Davie, because I make sure I call you Davie. That's your government name.
Please
okay?
Please do.
Welcome. Guess what?
What?
I think I already told you this, but you're the first Tuskegee grad.
Yes, sir. TU.
Yeah, that's right. The first Tuskegee grad that we had on here. And you know what? Davie reached out before and told me, hey, I really want to be on the podcast. And I was like, cool. And some people from Tuskegee hit me up, but I was like, nope. Nope, because I have somebody already.
Saving it, right?
Exactly. I have somebody who wants to be on here. I want them to be the first person to be on the HBCU podcast from Tuskegee.
Thank you so much for having me, Natasha. You know, we go way back, so.
We do. So let's hop into the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
You or me?
So, I mean, basically when we met, it was at an HBCU.
Yes.
So, look at that.
Yep.
For irony.
Yep.
And it was at Payne College. And I don't remember the year. What, like 2011, 10?
It had to be 2011 because it was my first job out of school, and I finished in 2010, so I want to say 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were working over at, like, the Fort Gordon.
I was in Fort Gordon. I don't know if you want to get into that now or later, but, yeah, that was a bit of a headache. I really wanted to be over there with you guys,
You
man.
should have been. We were like, oh, my gosh, you need to be here. Was Leah working there when you came?
Leah was not working as soon as I came.
Uh-huh.
She came maybe a few months later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we worked at Payne College for everybody who's wondering, because I have so many, like, connections who come onto the podcast and, like, how'd you meet? Payne College. But, yeah, Davie came in and was working with the Fort Gordon campus, which is the military base that's near there, and we never saw him.
I know, man. Here, maybe once or twice when I would come for a headshot.
Right.
Or my boss would send me down there because we were having some technical difficulties.
Yep.
But I never really, but I did go out with you guys
After
hours once or twice.
We did. We had fun after hours.
Right.
We won't talk about all that. Plead the fifth. So welcome to the HBCU podcast.
Thank you.
Tuskegee alumnus,
Yes.
a.k.a. Davy Crockett,
Yes.
a.k.a. Explorer,
Uh-huh.
a.k.a. father of Rufio. How's Rufio?
Rufio is doing good. I'm actually puppy sitting this weekend.
Okay.
One of my fraternity brothers, they're going on their 10 years somewhere in Dominican Republic, and he has a pit bull puppy, and Rufio is so annoyed with the puppy. He just doesn't do puppies, but he's doing pretty good. That's my partner in crime. Everywhere I go, he's there.
He is. Y'all, if you don't know, Davie has, like, I think, a really good social media presence, which is why I know about Rufio. And I honestly, like, everybody's, like, Instagram stories, people think that people tap through. I'm, like, the one person who, like,
that watches
people's Instagram stories. And so every time you and Rufio were doing anything, I was like, I am entertained.
Well, I got to plug Rufio's Instagram. It's Bangarang Wolves.
Okay. I don't know if I follow him, but it's happening after this. He's a star, y'all, so hit him up.
Right.
Hit him up. Okay, so as you know, this is the HBCU podcast, and y'all, I love that Davie is just already repping. He came in with the Tuskegee gear on. He's one of the few people that I see all the time, like, just repping in general. So I love that. But, of course, here we talk about HBCUs and, of course, about our guests, too. Yeah. But, yeah, we'll start off just talking about you and where you're from. Tell everybody where you're from and how you got to Tuskegee.
Okay. So I had a way of doing this. I actually purchased this shirt here.
Okay.
Recently from another Tuskegee graduate who has a business.
Okay.
HBCU Unity Tees.
Okay.
And I wanted these 5 HBCUs specifically because these are the ones that molded me. And for people who can't see, I have here Tuskegee, SC State, Claflin, FAMU, and Payne.
Yes.
So you asked me where I was from. I am from Orangeburg, South Carolina, the city of 2 of these great HBCUs.
That's right.
SC State and Claflin. And I'm from a family of the Rickenbackers in Orangeburg. My parents have 3 boys. Oldest son went to FAMU.
Nice.
Youngest son went to SC State.
Okay.
And both my parents are South Carolina State grads. Not only that, but my mother is a past campus queen for South Carolina State.
Okay.
And then my little brother was a campus king waiting on down the line. But yeah, I just wanted to I wanted to speak about each of these HBCUs and how they've molded me.
Yeah.
Just being from Orangeburg and seeing campus always in your face. My parents are always active on campus, so they're taking me on there. We're exercising on campus late hours.
Yeah.
It's just I've always been a part of South Carolina State University and Claflin University, and then some would say, well, why didn't you go to one of those schools?
You know that was going to be my question.
And my answer for that is, man, it was never a thought in my mind of where I wanted to, what type of school I wanted to go to. Mm-hmm. I knew it was going to be an HBCU because that's the way that my parents raised me. Not to say that there's anything wrong with going to any other school.
Absolutely.
But, the nature nurture. It's what I was raised on. They went there. I heard all of their stories. They met there. They fell in love there.
Yes, love story.
So, yeah, exactly. So, where was I going with that? So, I mean, just to say that.
Why you didn't go to Claflin is where you were
that's
going
what it was.
That's
the
best HBCU on the planet.
Exactly. And so, this is what is, not exactly, but. This is what I was going to plug on Claflin. So my grandmother, she's a graduate of Claflin University, and back when she's now deceased, but back when she's alive, she would always tell me stories of how Claflin was about $30 back then.
Ooh, that's when I needed to see Jesus.
Right. So no student loan debt. And then my grandfather's parents were both graduates of South Carolina State as well. So nice. I'm deeply rooted in South Carolina State and Claflin. But, I wanted to see the rest of the world. I wanted to, Orangeburg, you've lived there for a while. It's not the most exciting town in the world.
It's not, but
outside of the colleges.
Right.
But when those colleges are gone, I don't want to call it boring, but you got to find some things to do.
It's a little bit of a ghost town.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, I've been around for a summer and was like, okay.
Right. But let me not down too much on Orangeburg because my parents are going to listen to
people love Orangeburg.
Right.
It just has it has a little spark when the students are in, like any college town.
Exactly. It brings it to life.
Like any college town. So that's dope.
Yeah.
So South Carolina State, Claflin, FAMU, and Payne, of course, because you...
Yes. So Payne was my very first... my very first job with my college degree.
Nice.
Coming out of Tuskegee, I was a part of the recession where I had trouble finding a position. And that summer, I actually interned at another HBCU, Savannah State University.
Okay.
Which was good, but it didn't lead to a job.
Okay.
So my father was pretty close with the president of Payne, and he was able to, network and help me get a position out there. And it was just a blessing for me. Now, the experience was a little rocky, and I don't discredit Payne for that. I kind of discredit the boss I had at the time. I don't know if you remember him. We won't call any names. But but the program that I was working with, it kind of fell through. And we were no longer needed out there. So pain taught me a lot of things. It taught me, about struggle. It taught me, about the professional career. It taught me about the ups and downs of the professional career.
Right.
We won't get into details on this, but I met my first love at Payne.
Okay.
Now, she wasn't a student or anything like that, but in Augusta, so I was very deeply rooted in Payne College. It taught me a great deal.
Nice.
Not as much as I learned at Tuskegee, but we'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
Right.
So what I really love is that you're just sharing all of these things about HBCUs and the ones that are on your shirt that I probably wouldn't have known in general. But I love that your brothers went to HBCUs, your family deeply rooted in HBCUs. Yes. So what is it that they told you that even though you didn't attend their HBCUs that said, hey, I'm going to go see what everything's about here in Tuskegee? What was it that as you were growing up you heard them say and really, affirm about HBCUs?
I'd have to say it was just the stories. I don't think that they pinpointed, you've got to go to an HBCU, you've got to go to an HBCU. But just hearing the story about my parents meeting there and falling in love, my mother running for a campus queen, my father being a popular kid at SC State, I think it was just deeply rooted in those stories that they told me, and there just was no other decision for me to make other than being at a historically black college or university. Of course, on the career side, I researched a few things about HBCUs and then their specialties at some of the schools, which before I left for Tuskegee, I was very passionate about animals.
Okay.
And, Tuskegee University has a
program.
very strong veterinary program. If I could just plug for a second.
You could do whatever you want to plug your HBCU. This is the place to do it, okay?
Great.
I love it.
Great, because we have the number one historically black college and university for graduating black veterinarians and having them employed. So that's Tuskegee. Now, I did not know that going to Tuskegee, I had to major in animal science first to get to that veterinary program. I thought it was you get an animal science, one and done. You're going to be in the vet school. So there was some struggle there, but, I made it through. Yeah.
So let's talk about your career because, of course, as you mentioned when we began the podcast, that you double degree at Tuskegee. So you currently work...
So I work for the Center for Disease Control here in Atlanta. I am a health communication specialist. My division is called Community Guide, and basically what we do is we coincide with liaisons in the community on different public health topics. I think writing a report on homelessness around America right now and how we touch base with other organizations that help to combat homelessness.
Okay.
So that's just an idea of the things that we do. I run a lot of social media campaigns, which you gave me the plug on how great my social media. It comes because I've taken a lot of courses in social media.
He
so
knows
I know
what
some
he's
tricks.
doing.
Right.
He knows what he's doing.
Exactly. I edit some reports, write some stories here and there, and I also telework, so I have a little leeway on what I can and cannot do.
Nice.
And it's a great position. I really like it. We'll get into because I actually quit the job to go to Survivor, but we'll get into that when we start talking about Survivor.
Okay. So, what was it that, even though you went to Tuskegee, you were thinking, hey, I want to be a veterinarian, and you learned more about, I guess, these other degrees or other field of study? What led you to that particular degree and then where you are now?
So I started...
How'd you choose it? Because that's the,
Absolutely.
I've told my story before, but I majored in mass comm at Claflin, and I chose mass comm because it was the one with only one math.
Oh.
So,
smart. See, I never researched the classes.
I kept it simple.
Had I done that?
I looked down the row. I was like, just one math, huh?
Right.
I think that's for me.
Well, so I I knew I wanted. We had a lot of pets growing up in Orangeburg, dogs, cats, birds. I think we caught a rabbit one time and tried to domesticate it, and our parents weren't having it. So I was kind of passionate about animals, and going into Tuskegee, I majored in animal science, and then I got introduced to environmental sciences. And which is what my younger brother just got his doctorate degree in.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And environmental sciences encompasses so much. Mm-hmm. So after graduating and not being able to get a job right away, I was kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. I was trying to figure out my life, as we do after we graduate and go through that,
Ain't that the truth?
Right. And I'm thinking, are you sure you don't want to go to vet school? Do you want to go to vet school? Don't you want to go to vet school? And I was like, if I want, I should probably work as a veterinary technician for a while to see if this is for me. Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
Get a feel.
Yeah. And so I moved to Atlanta, stayed on some couches at my Lion Brothers houses until I could get on my feet.
Hey,
and and I worked as a veterinary technician for a while. And I kept those contacts that I had with Tuskegee. And lo and behold, there was a new program to open up at Tuskegee called the Master of Public Health Program.
Okay.
And it was fully funded at that time.
Blessings.
So, me having my bachelor's degree in environmental sciences and just thinking, that kind of coincides with public health. If it's gonna be free, maybe I should give it a go.
Right.
What's the worst that could happen?
Can't lose.
Right. So then I started my program, and they started taking the money away. But I became so passionate about public health that I'm thinking, oh man, this is something that I can do. I can help generations of people with public health, and this is where I want to be. And then I was lucky enough to get the job at the premier place that you want to work in public health. And I've got to accredit the grace of God for that, because at that time, our program was not accredited.
Okay.
And I've got all of these people telling me, you don't want to go to that school. I mean, that school. Right. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's my home. That's my second home. Because they're not accredited. And I'm like, no, don't worry. I've got faith. My faith in God is going to get me through. And just look what he did. He got me that job at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia.
Big deal.
Right. Very big deal. Yes.
Nice. So, you've done, I guess you've kind of given us your career story, your first job, and then where you are now, and all that good stuff. Yes. And what people, one of the questions I think people will want to know, because you were at Tuskegee for both of your degrees, and what exactly do you think it was that you learned there that, just kind of kept you pushing? You've had a few little hardships that you share with us throughout the story. So what kind of skills or anything that you learned there that really help you press on or put you in a place where you are for this right now?
Absolutely. Going to an HBCU, I believe it's called the Morrill Act of 1890, where they gave land to people to start schools, and Tuskegee was started. I was talking all of that stuff about Orangeburg being boring. Tuskegee was started in Tuskegee, Alabama, which is a very small town that doesn't have much, and I accredit my upbringing and my molding and shaping and polishing to the fact that it was in that small town. So we were forced to interact with each other.
Right.
We couldn't go to the movies. We couldn't go to Sonic. All we had was a McDonald's and a KFC in this place called The Coop. And when Michelle Obama came down, she did her research. She was like, I want to get me some Coop.
Went straight there.
Right.
You're from the small town, but you decided to explore the world and go to a smaller town.
Now, it was about 15 minutes from Auburn University, so we would take some trips here and there, and Montgomery was down the road, too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, and especially as freshmen, where you're not allowed a car, you got to find a way to make your own fun. And not only my own fun, but, being that I was there, I had to learn things. I had to learn how to be an adult without my parents.
Right.
I had to wait in those long registration lines.
Yeah.
I had to learn those life hacks with how to cut the line with the people that I know, you know?
Yeah.
I've got one of my friends here with me now who's taking some pictures that I met. And
Shout out to Todd.
Shout out to Todd Hoskins. he's taking some photographs with us right now. You'll see them later. And it's just those kind of connections that I made as a freshman that have lasted me to now. Mm-hmm. And now we're able to help each other with our I won't say our careers because we both have other jobs, but with our little side hustles, that we got. So I just think that, Tuskegee, you had to learn how to navigate without a vehicle. You had to make something out of nothing. And I'm pretty sure that's, a story for most HBCUs.
A lot of them.
Right. And especially the candidates that go from out of state because they don't know anyone.
Right.
And I got in there as a freshman. I had a roommate from New York. His name's Drew Sanders.
Drew was probably
right
shell-shocked.
Right, exactly. But Drew is really how I met everybody because he was so outgoing. Mm-hmm. We joined the dorm step team and we won the dorm step show.
So you mean to tell me this Davie that we have right now wasn't freshman year at Tuskegee, Davie?
No.
Wow.
I was a timid guy.
Really?
They would make fun of me because in South Carolina the style was headbands.
Yeah.
I would wear a headband with all of my outfits.
You got to show them your swag,
Right. It's like, who is that kid from South Carolina that's always wearing the headbands? So, I got in with a tight group with my young hall step team, and we thought we ran the yard. I'm like, well, this is new to me. I mean, in high school, I wasn't like a loser or anything, but I wasn't as outgoing as I am now. And being a part of an organization like that step team to where we're just meeting everyone and everyone's loving us and I'm able to make those connections, I think that's the blueprint that's just got me going and to become the person that I am today.
I love that. Everybody, I feel like, you're obligated to do that. Like, if you go to an HBCU, like I was on the step team too for my dorm.
It's a rites of passage.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do it. Like, because you see the Greeks and you're like, well, this is close.
Right.
Let me go ahead and start practicing a little bit.
The baby Greeks, right? And they watch it.
They looking. So, we know what's up.
Right.
Well, cool.
Then speaking of Greek life, should we shift into that?
Go ahead. Because I feel like you are a member of a fraternity.
Yes.
If I am not mistaken.
Yes, I am a member of the greatest fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Yes, the Gamma Epsilon chapter of Tuskegee University. And in high school, I was a member of Kappa League, so I always knew I was going to be a Kappa.
See?
And it was going to them step shows at South Carolina State in Claflin and seeing them shimmy, and I'm like, look how they getting all these girls, they're screaming. What is this? This is outer body.
Oh, that's the reason?
Not at all. Achievement, leadership, all of that. But that was the
service.
But that was the thing that caught my eye, and I'm like, okay, I want to be a Kappa. So little did I know, about half of Young All Step Team wanted to be
Everybody wanted to be down.
Right.
You didn't know you was already practicing with your line brothers or some of them.
Right, exactly. But hey, God knew. He knew he was putting me in the right situation.
You were being groomed, so,
Exactly. So, we were actually off the yard when I was a freshman.
Okay.
And then we came back in 2009. And, I had made the connections that I needed to make to where I was able to go through intake in 2008, and I became a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. My line was about 15, and those have just become my best friends.
Yeah.
We still talk to each other to this day, which is how fraternities and sororities are.
They are. I called one of my sorority sisters when I was like, I'm in town. You want to do drinks?
Right, exactly. My line brothers are going to be going with me to Fiji for our 11-year trip soon.
Oh, nice.
So, we and just being a Kappa is what I said. Tuskegee is what made me, but being a Kappa is what polished me.
Okay. So when did you said 2008. So was that your...
I was a junior.
Your junior year.
Then.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, just becoming a member of an organization that is so deeply rooted in achievement and, being professional and dressing up, every week and doing all of this community service. Those are the things that I was a man then, but those are the things that polished me into a Tuskegee gentleman, I would say.
I like it.
And, I have all of these high ideals now, and the sky's the limit for me. I would look at my line brothers, as they were getting all of their jobs, engineering and becoming veterinarians and doctors. And that's another thing that I was like, I can't just settle and be here, working as a veterinary technician. Not to say that there's anything wrong with it, but I want to use my degree because I want to, they've inspired me to keep going.
Right.
And, I think that where I am right now, I am on the right track to where in a few years, I will be, I won't say satisfied, but I will be happy with the route that I'm taking.
Nice. Yeah. Well, see, that's awesome. I always try to encourage people. I mean, a lot of people say different things about Greek life as time has gone by. Things have shifted. I'm sure it's different for the guys that are there now that when, our parents may have gone to college. But it's one of those things, too, just like an HBCU, just invaluable experience, how you connect, how you bond. I mean, especially if you're somebody with no siblings or something like that.
Man.
Well, I'm not. But
okay.
No, I'm the oldest 3 girls. Okay. So I have 3 sisters.
Are they all AKAs?
No, I'm the only one.
What?
I tried, man. I tried.
Man.
I tried to get them all to go to Claflin too, but they did go to HBCUs.
Oh, you're the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Wow.
Yeah.
So my younger brother that went to state, he became a Kappa, but my older brother, we just couldn't. Well, they were off the yard at FAMU at the time, but we still trying to get them to do alumni. James, if you're listening,
you can still
I'm not gonna give
it.
up.
Well, I'm not giving up either. So hint, hint. Y'all can guess if y'all know me which one of them is going for it, but I'm pushing every time I get a chance. But no, I have a cousin who is at Claflin now, and she just crossed over a Gamma Nu my chapter. So I got somebody.
Very nice.
I just kept on pushing until I got someone.
And so we're talking about legacy now. So we're talking about legacy now, and I've had maybe about 4 or 5 little Orangeburg people to come through and come out of Tuskegee.
Oh, nice.
And, when the schools would call me when I didn't have a job and be like, hey, donate. I'd be like, I am donating by giving you guys students.
Sending some people your way.
Exactly.
Nice.
I brought up my older brother and the fact that he went to FAMU, but I didn't say a piece on FAMU at all. I think that might have been the driving force of me wanting to go to school out of state. Just seeing the time that my brother had at FAMU and seeing all of the different types of people that are out there in the world. I mean, I've been places, but I haven't been set in places. And my brother was a member of the Marching 100.
Oh, okay.
And I was on the band in high school.
Nice.
So, I was seeing all of that. And I didn't say anything about me being on the band in Tuskegee, but I was as a freshman.
Okay.
It was an okay experience. But, but yeah, I think that FAMU had played a very big part in me wanting to be in an HBCU. I had already seen State and Claflin, and I'm like, whoa, there's other schools out here that are bigger schools, and they're doing the same thing in different states. I've got to find my own.
And so you guys went down there when you were younger, moved him in.
Yeah, because they're in the MEAC, and my parents, they travel with state.
Oh, okay.
So
how'd that work out?
Right, exactly. So when it comes game time, the house is split.
They don't know
right, because I'm in the what are we in the MEAC? We're in something, but I always wanted to be in the MEAC just because my parents and my brother, they will just always go at it.
Big
but
deal.
it's a good time though.
Nice. So if you're listening, and I always say this because I'm like, you're not on a radio show, but you never know who fast forwards because I put show notes in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, professional.
So so if you don't know, we're talking to Davie Rickenbacker, and he has kind of become like a little bit of a overnight celebrity because he was recently on CBS's Survivor. Yes. What was it, season 37.
Yep.
And you got to talk to us about this because I remember when Survivor hit the scene. It was, some time ago. It was back when my parents did not have cable. And so, I had to watch the stuff that was on network television. I was kind of into Survivor for a while. I have to admit, I haven't seen it in a long time until you came on. Because somebody was like, Davie's on Survivor. Have you seen him? So tell us all about this. How'd you get on there? Have you always been a fan of the show? How did this happen?
Okay. I'm going to love talking about this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I actually learned about Survivor in Orangeburg, South Carolina. I don't know if you remember some of the churches in the city, but New Mount Zion Baptist Church, which is right across the street from Claflin University, is the church that me and my family are members of.
Okay.
And we had a member of our church that was going to be on the season of Survivor.
Yes.
I want to quote her full name, but I know her name is Joanne, and she lives here in Atlanta now.
Okay.
And that Sunday, our pastor announced it, and I remember turning to my mom and saying, Survivor, mother, what is that? I call my mom mother.
I call my grandma grandmother. So
right. So we went and watched it that whatever day that was. I think it was on Thursday nights then, and I just really became in love with it. And for those of you who have never seen an episode of Survivor, Survivor is basically a show where they take 20 strangers, sometimes 18 or 16, and they split them into separate tribes. Each day they'll do challenges. They take you to a deserted island in different areas of the world. And my season was in Fiji. Ooh. And they split you into these two tribes where you do challenges against each other day by day. And after each challenge, someone is voted out. So you have to be savvy enough not to get voted out so that you can make it to the end. And I just knew I could do something like that. I'm a nature boy, country boy from Orangeburg, South Carolina. My friends always pick on me, chasing after animals on Tuskegee's campus. I just was that guy, and I felt like that was something that I would just strive and just do well in.
So they had casting and you saw it and you were like,
so I knew that it was something that I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to get my degrees first.
Okay.
And one day I was lollygagging on the internet and I said, let me check to see if there's any casting calls. I checked. And there was a casting call in Atlanta. And I went that day, and I did horrible.
So what do you have to do, at the casting call?
So at the casting call, you basically talk into a camera for however long you want, but no one is talking to you.
Oh, okay.
You just say what you want to say.
Right.
And I don't know what I said. I remember saying something about Obama being the first black president and saying something about something, but basically it wasn't it. And I was like, okay, Davie, if you're serious about this, you need to go tenfold and really do it. So I made a casting tape.
Okay.
So another one of my friends from Tuskegee who has a videography career, she recorded my casting tape, Eteria Bowles, and I sent it in, and the next day, I'm getting a call from California. I don't get calls from California unless it's student loans. And I'm like,
true.
Should I answer this?
I don't know. Something tells you, though, every time. I feel like I get a random call every now and then. It's the right one.
Exactly,
I feel like, okay. I thought you was somebody else.
So I answered the phone, and they were like, Davie, you want to fly to L.A. and interview? And I'm like, what? So, of course, I'm at work. I can't scream how I want to. But I flew to L.A. We did a series of interviews. And then I didn't hear from them. I'm like, okay, well, maybe Survivor's not going to happen for me. But, I was sitting in my home a little depressed off of that. And my mom, I couldn't tell her that, they hadn't called me. I was just trying to be helpful. And she was like, I bet they're going to call. I'm like, Mom, they're not going to call. And then they called and they said, Davie, pack your bags. We're flying you to Fiji. And the rest is history.
Nice. So Mama be knowing.
Right.
Is she a fan too, though? Does she
She wasn't a fan then, but now she is. She's still watching the seasons. And all of the seasons are on Hulu. So anyone who wants to watch, you can check that out. And now I'm going to speak about what I wanted to do when I was on Survivor. So when you go out there, you have, I don't want to say ulterior motives, but you have more than just the prize of Survivor is $1 million. But if you only walk away with money, then you didn't get anything from the experience.
Yeah.
I knew that I want to go out there and change perspectives about black people for the nation.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted people to see that there are different types of black people and you don't need to stereotype us.
Right.
I see myself as a bit of a nerd, Blerd sometimes, and I wanted to see that, we got some people out here that can be geeky and cool at the same time.
Right.
So I went out there and excuse me, I went out there and I was winning these challenges where I had to spell words, and me saying that I'm a nerd, I'm not that athletic, but I was out there being an athlete and surprising myself. And the main thing that I want people to take from it is I want more black people to watch the show so that more black people can get casted on the show.
Now, did you find, though, was there a real black fan base, I guess, for Survivor?
There was not a black fan base at all. And it's still struggling. But like I said, that's one of the reasons that I wanted to do it. I wanted people to see, younger people mainly, to see that we can do these things. We can be the president of the United States.
Right.
We can be on Survivor, CBS. And the winner before my season was a black male who graduated from Morehouse College.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a marathon. It's not a race. It's a joint effort. And if these little kids are seeing that representation matters, then they'll know that they can do anything that they want to do.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Now, in all the seasons that they had, I mean, since this is kind of your thing, how many black people have been, casted on some of the seasons?
So here and there, the most black people that they've casted at a time would be 4.
Okay.
But it's very rare.
On one particular season,
On one particular season,
Okay, so overall, maybe they've had, 15, 10?
No. Overall, maybe there's been about 50 to 100. There's been about...
But there are 37 seasons.
Yeah, there are 37 seasons.
With
right.
20 to 50 to 16 people on. Okay,
Right. So, usually they'll do what they got to do, the quota, which is a black male and a black female. But some reason they decided to put 4 black people on my season. And I really think that helped me get to where I needed to be. And that's what I'm saying. If more black people are watching it, we'll do better on these type of shows.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So, Survivor. Okay, so Fiji. How much time did you get to spend there outside of being on Survivor? Did you... It was directly there and start filming?
Right. So when you get to Survivor, they don't just drop you off at the island. You got to do some press photos and all of that stuff. So think about the Hunger Games when...
I like that movie.
Right. So when they're doing the trial and everyone's, in the beginning where they're all showing their skills, we had something like that. We all stayed in tents for the first 3 days, and we weren't allowed to talk to each other at all because that would give us an advantage or disadvantage in the game. And so we did that, and I lasted on Survivor. I was a finalist. I was in the finale, and I got 6th place. And because I only survived to 36 days, the whole entire show was 39 days, I had 3 days where I got to enjoy Fiji, but we didn't really get to do anything because we couldn't really go anywhere. You don't have your cell phones and all of that.
Okay.
But the airline was gracious enough to gift all of us free tickets back to Fiji. So I'll be going to Fiji in October, and I'll get to experience it a different way.
With the Lime Brothers.
Right.
Because I didn't miss that. I
right.
Yeah, heard y'all were going to turn up or something.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think just kind of looking through everything, and I think on YouTube, because I didn't go and binge watch the Hulu season.
Yeah, no problem.
But your mom was there.
Yes.
What happened there that she actually came out and had a chance to be on the CBS, on the televisions with her baby?
So I'm gonna make you laugh. So once you get to a certain point in Survivor, there's a thing called the family visit where they'll bring out your family member because, I mean, you made it this far. You deserve this type of reward. And before I went on Survivor, I was in a relationship, and they make you put 2 people down that you'll bring down. And the first person I put was Rufio.
Bye. Goodbye.
My dog. I was like, oh my gosh, this has never been done before. I bring my best friend out, Rufio. And then the second person I put down was my girlfriend then, which was my ex-girlfriend before I went out there. So I'm out there.
So Mama wasn't even on the list.
So Mama wasn't on the list, but, you know.
I'm sorry.
Right, yeah. My mother wasn't on the list, but she knew that, you know, they had to sign waivers and everything. And I'm thinking, oh my God. If they don't send Rufio out here, are they going to send my ex-girlfriend? But my mother shut that down.
Did she?
Right. So my mother came out there and, oh my gosh, it was surreal. Like, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it right now. You got to go watch that clip. She ran out looking so heavenly. My mother, Hazel. And she just spoke so great of me in front of Jeff, and it had to have been. I had a lot of top moments out there, but it had to have been in my top 3 moments of playing the game of Survivor.
Yeah.
And Jeff even put in an interview that he would bring her out there to play the game too, because she was a fan favorite, and they do some seasons where they play with family and stuff. But
is she down?
She ain't gonna do that. my mama is a SG role, a campus queen.
Yeah.
She ain't going out there on Survivor.
I mean, so before I guess we probably won't even be wrapping up because I still have so many questions about Survivor. But
I love it.
Okay, so you already said you were outdoorsy. That was just your thing when you were younger, and but what are some things that people would need, or some skills that they like, basic stuff, if they were to be on Survivor? Because see, this is, I'm gonna tell y'all where my head is. Okay. This is about to be a little random. Okay, so Survivor, the whole time it seems like everybody's like swim attire. So I'm feeling like, if I go on Survivor, do I need to get laser hair removal? Like, you're going to be out here these many days and you can't shave. Right. Like, these are the things that are going through my mind.
Right.
Instead of trying to survive. So for somebody who is basic like me, if I were to be like, you know what, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
What kind of skills should I be thinking about?
So you kind of just got to be yourself. You never know what the game can throw at you. But I will say being a people person helps.
Okay.
And I learned to be a people person at my HBCU.
Hey.
So I was prepared for that. There's certain challenges where they do puzzles. So, you know, you can practice puzzles here and there. But the thing that helped me the best was being an explorer, because I was able to find those idols that I was able to find that would help save me or help propel my game. You know, you've got a lot of people who will go out there and use their weaknesses as strengths. And you can be seen as weak if you're crying all the time, but sometimes they'll want to keep that person, so it'll take them down the line. So it's like, you know, you can't really prepare for it. You kind of got to expect the unexpected for Survivor. And now, you're talking about the laser hair removal. Some people did actually get their eyebrows tattooed. I don't know what that's called, but we actually did not smell. And let me explain it. So when we're on Survivor, we're only eating rice and coconut every day. And so our bodies aren't taking any toxins in. So maybe we smell to the camera crew, but to us, we couldn't really tell. So it's not as bad as you would think. Don't get me wrong. There is some annoyances there, like chafing and, you know, having to use the bathroom.
What about
in
the
the forest.
bugs?
Yeah, the bugs at
like
night.
Like mosquitoes now?
Oh my gosh. Yes, mosquitoes and flies, but, you know, the little headbands that we have on, they extend, so
have
we
like
would
a net?
Yeah, so we would sleep with them on our faces. So, you know, there's ways. You just got to be innovative, and I learned about innovation from the best HBCU there is, Tuskegee University.
Plug.
So, I was prepared.
Well, that's good to know. Anybody listening, you're thinking about it,
Yeah, so
just be yourself.
Yeah, they're in the casting phase right now. So maybe there's somebody listening that would want to apply to Survivor. That's another thing I'm saying. Because black people don't apply, when one does, they're like, oh, let's get this guy on the show. So apply for Survivor and message me if you like. I'll tell you how to do it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So what else was I going to ask? So you talked about the diet on Survivor.
I lost 37 pounds.
Did you?
37 pounds.
It was, but I saw, like I told you, I was kind of like YouTube surfing. So, but it was chickens there. So like...
Yeah, so like,
were y'all like killing and plucking and cooking chickens?
Yep. I had.
See, I don't eat beef, chicken, or pork, but if I were on there for 30 days.
Yeah, well, we had some vegetarians out there.
Was I going fishing and stuff?
Yeah, and I caught an octopus the first episode. So there's ways that you'll get some food, but the chickens, we won those in rewards, but for the most part, those are just here and there.
Okay.
We are eating that rice and coconut every day, and that is the main source of our food.
Well.
Yeah. But that was one thing that I was out there wanting to lose weight, and I lost that weight that I gained all the way back already.
Like a little crash diet.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So, since Survivor, because, like I said, I've been following you on social media prior to that. He was already a big deal, y'all. He was, like, always doing something on social media. But I see that you've been able to, like, have so many, like, cool opportunities because of that. So, like, let's talk about Survivor and after Survivor. Because you've been just like everywhere.
Yes. So Survivor has given me a platform where I got a little blue verified check now.
Hey, tell me how to get that.
And so people will reach out to me now, to come speak at schools and come speak to children, do podcasts, which I'm learning now I'm pretty good at. May start my own someday.
You should.
And I want to continue to use my platform to do the things that I was doing out there in thought on Survivor, changing perspectives about black people. I'd say one of the downsides of doing Survivor was watching live and seeing some of the comments from the fan base. It's a predominantly white audience, and I can see, sometimes they may take something a different way than a black person may take it. And that's why it's so important for me to change those perspectives and debunk those stereotypes. So I want to continue to do what I can with my little 15 minutes of fame. I touched Sia, the artist Sia that sings.
Oh, nice. So you know what she looks like now?
Sort of. When I say touch, I mean I touched her soul. Okay. I didn't actually meet her. But she was so moved by my story out there on Survivor that she gave me a large donation. Okay. So it was just opportunities like that that are life-changing, and I'm going to do what I can. I have been taking a few acting classes here and there. Okay. So, I'm in Atlanta. This is the new Black Hollywood. Well, not the new Black Hollywood, but the Black Hollywood.
That's right. Opportunities.
Right. So I'm trying to propel and, just take what I can. And these just aren't any acting classes. They're voice acting classes.
Okay.
So, maybe doing some type of commercials, some type of cartoon voices and things. I feel like that's something that the first thing I ever wanted to be when I grew up was a cartoonist. And so I feel like maybe I'm going back to that now.
That's a dope place. They're reintroducing Proud Family
again.
Oh so maybe
God,
you could be like a character.
Exactly.
Boondocks is coming back too.
Exactly. So, I feel like and again, I feel like that's an area that we and black people aren't really in, and I feel like that's something that will be another lesson to kids that, oh my gosh, if Davie can do Survivor and now he's voicing cartoon characters, what can I do?
Yeah. Well, who is it who does a bunch of them? Cree Summer.
Yeah.
She is like all over the place. She was Freddie on A Different World for those people who are wondering.
Right. That's
and
who
so
it is.
I think she's been like Susie Carmichael's voice on Rugrats and like tons of other stuff.
Tons of
I think
others.
her, Regina King.
Regina King, Boondocks.
So we need more.
Yeah, let's get saturated.
We need more. That's cool. I also saw too, because you're using your gifts and going out there and just really motivating the people. I saw that you were at Ron Clark Academy.
Yes.
That looked dope.
Oh my gosh! So I don't know. You probably didn't watch the season after mine, but guess who was on that season?
Who?
Ron Clark.
Was he?
Ron Clark, who has a school here in Atlanta, Georgia. He's a world-renowned principal. Oprah paid for him to write a book, and that book just went crazy, and he's just doing so well in the community now. So there was a competition that he had with his students, and it was called the Amazing Shake. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And it was actually a competition that would get students ready for interviewing.
Okay.
And so he had me come to his school, and I was a station. And when the kids came to my station, I would ask them, so, Jimmy, why should you be the next sole survivor of the Amazing Shake? And they would give me an answer. So Ron Clark School is just amazing, man. I feel like black teachers, and speaking of black teachers, I saw you had Barry on here.
He was on our live podcast, but we gotta circle back so he can do a one-on-one because he's got so much.
Oh, that's my boy, man.
Yeah,
and he's out there in Charlotte just killing it.
Yeah.
But black teachers, representation mattering, and Ron Clark, he's got all of those black male teachers in his school, and I want more of that for the world. I feel like that is the answer to so much crisis we have within our community. We need those black teachers into the school.
Yeah. So, you're out here. You're doing everything. Yeah. You talked about the upsides, the downsides to being a contestant on the show and all the cool things that have opened up to you. What kind of perks would you say are associated with this newfound fame?
Let's see.
If any.
Yeah, we get perks. I do a lot of charity work now, and with that charity work, it's not here in Atlanta. It's different places. I was flown into Orlando for Give Kids the World, which is an organization that raises money for children who are sickly, and in September, which just so happens to be my birthday month, I'm going to fly out to Vegas and work with another charity, and they pay room and board. So that's pretty much the biggest perk is that they'll fly you anywhere, and people reach out to you all the time. And if it's conducive to my schedule, which, like I said, I telework, so I can kind of do it anywhere, that would be the number one perk. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Travel.
So you're using your influence to do charity work, based on this too. That's awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
So one of the things I also wanted to talk about too, because you touched a little bit about representation and you being a nerd and all that kind of stuff too. On your Instagram, I see that you have like an obsession with The Walking Dead and
my show.
Your comment. Have you done Comic-Con or
I've been
all
to the
those kind of things?
Oh yeah, so that was a lot of my story out there was me being a Blerd, and a Blerd is a black nerd for the listeners who don't know what that is. And we're the guys that are into cartoons and into comics and into cosplay. That's right. I cosplay. Halloween is a big deal for me.
That's the word for it. Cosplay.
Yes. So, I get to go to those type of events.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I propelled getting into voice acting, because I went to one of those events and there was an opportunity there. So I feel like God puts you in those places. He puts you in the places that you need to be, and I'm interested to see what he's got up in store for me next.
Nice. So anything else you wanted to tell the people about Survivor before we, move on? Any other tidbits? He already let y'all know that casting was happening. So,
Look, yes, please,
you're getting
guys,
the tip here.
Reach out to me. I know I'm going to plug my social media at the end of this, but I am Davie on Instagram. Reach out to me. I will answer you back if you're interested in going on Survivor. Anything else about Survivor? Yeah, I met lifelong friends out there. These are the people that backstab you and lie, but I think that's something that oddly grows you close to them because you guys go through this traumatic experience together.
Right.
And I feel like I've got a lot of new best friends. I talk to them every day. They're kind of like because I live with them 24 hours at a time, you get so close. I kind of feel like they're as close to me as some of my line brothers are. It's kind of like we played Survivor together. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, just the fact that, now, I didn't talk about the fact that other shows have been reaching out to me to be on television.
Is Amazing Race still on?
Amazing Race.
I feel like that might be your thing.
Yes, me and one of my castmates are thinking about doing that because you got to have a partner for that. The Challenge on MTV reached out to me, but I don't know if I need to go on there. It's got alcohol on it. Who knows what I may do. But yeah, all of these opportunities are happening, and I just thank God every day.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit more about Tuskegee, but just basically what some of your favorite memories are. Because we always like to take the people down memory lane. We shared a little bit, but as you guys know at this point is we're talking to somebody who's Kappa, we're talking to someone who's in the band, all of that good stuff. So for you, what are some of your favorite HBCU memories at Tuskegee?
I think one of my, and Todd's in here, he's going to start laughing. I think one of my favorite memories was as a freshman, and we had this huge water fight on the yard.
Nice.
We had these water balloons. We had buckets of water. The girls
probably were not here for that.
Right. Let me tell you about the girls. The girls weren't here for it, but then once they got wet, they got into it.
You got to.
Yes. And someone actually got their nose broke, one of the girls out there.
No.
And that's why it's so memorable to me. Let's see. Other stories of Tuskegee. Just the calf, just going to the calf every day, and me with my young hall step team where we freshmen and we think we run the yard and we walking around talking to girls and cleaning up at the calf and just, making a name for ourselves.
Todd, did he ever leave you?
No, he never left.
That's the worst thing at a not just at HBCU, but I used to hate when my friends would go to the calf without me.
Right.
I'd be like, why y'all didn't? Girl, you was taking... No, wake me up. Nobody wants to go to the calf by themselves.
So in Tuskegee, we got this place called the world-renowned Soul Inn, and this is the only club in Tuskegee. And that's where we would go on Friday nights and dance and get drunk and do all of that. The football games at Tuskegee, I remember on that form I filled out, you asked for a song.
Yeah.
And the song that I put on there was one of the songs that Tuskegee is known for, which is Ball and Parlay. I won't sing it right now, but it's basically the song. Yes, it's the song of Tuskegee. The band, we have our football stadium is a little weird because we have this thing called the shed, and our band is underneath that shed, and the sound just propels. So it's just like a party every time we're at a football game. The patio, speaking about Greek life, the patio is where we would do all of our yard shows and all of our stroll-offs. Oh, man, you got me feeling real nostalgic. and my Neos started back this week, and I'm seeing all of their pictures on social media, and I'm just thinking, wow, this is the perfect time for me to go on the HBCU podcast and just reminisce.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Tuskegee, the pride of the swift-growing South. That is my second home. And Lionel Richie was there this week, but I'm rambling.
Yep, Lionel is a Tuskegee grad. Yes, he
Lionel
is.
As well. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, those are good memories. I always forget that Tuskegee has a football team. I don't know why.
Really? Oh my gosh! Let me plug this.
Not like being shady, but I just always forget because a lot of us only have basketball, like Claflin.
Right. Yeah, and we played you guys in basketball. We've beat you guys in basketball, but
academics.
All right, but so Tuskegee is actually the most winningest HBCU in football. Okay. So we've won the most games in football. So yeah, Tuskegee's football. I don't know how they did last year and how they're gonna do this year, but they got some clout.
This is probably the first time I'm telling this on the HBCU podcast. No. I actually wanted to go to Tuskegee.
What?
Because I wanted to be a part of the Golden Voices choir. I ended up joining the choir at Claflin, but it was on my list.
Kiguana was on the... You know Kiguana, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Kiguana was
I
on
do.
the Golden Voices.
He was one of the persons that I was going to be like, hey, Tuskegee grad. Well, we're going to get together. He's in Augusta.
Okay.
Too. Yep, that's one of my little things. I was going to go there just for that because I went to Claflin and started on the choir, and then I didn't stay on
Right.
it. But,
well, my first choice I didn't get to go to either. My first choice was actually North Carolina A&T.
Okay.
Because, the Aggies in South Carolina State would always go head to head, but they was a little stingy with their money then. So,
when
right,
tossing it out the right way.
And Tuskegee was willing to give. And I don't know how I forgot to mention this, but the president of Tuskegee at that time was, guess from what city? Orangeburg, South Carolina. President Benjamin F. Payton. Actually, he has a drive named of him in South Carolina State. Mm-hmm. So, everything, the stars always align, and everything happens the way it's ever, supposed to happen and going to happen.
Most definitely. So, since those are your great memories, we're going to talk a little bit about what you've already been doing, obviously, because you do a lot of charity work, but... when it comes to your HBCU, what does giving look like for you, giving back to Tuskegee University?
Again, like I said, I do recruit for the university. While I was there, I don't know how I forgot to mention, but I was an orientation leader.
Okay.
So I know the history of my university. Don't ask me right now, because
that's important.
Right. I may have to jug my memory, but I want people to go to my school, so I recruit still. Mm-hmm. I'm not as active as I would like to be with the Atlanta Alumni Chapter. Now in Augusta, I was really active with that chapter.
It's a lot of people in Tuskegee Alumni in Augusta.
Oh yeah, they've got a large network there. But I plug my university wherever I can when it comes to just me posting on the internet. I get the support of my friends who are graduates of Tuskegee, like, reaching out to Shannon Dillard for the shirt, Todd for the photography. I do what I can, and I donate where I can.
Yeah. That's always important.
Absolutely. Even if it's just $20.
It's true.
Anything will help to keep your HBCU going.
Absolutely. And we always talk about that on the show, just... give back what you can. There's so many people who are like, no, I'm not giving anything back. Nah. And they think about their experience if it wasn't the best. Like, think about it for if you do happen to have kids, you want it to be there so Legacy. That, it could be an option for them. So give. Yep. If you could encourage anybody to go to an HBCU or Tuskegee, what would you say?
I don't want to say something cliche like the best time of your life.
Although that's not untrue.
Yeah, right. Best time of your life, you're going to meet people that you've never met before from all different types of walks of life that are going to be lifelong friends, that you're still going to be able to help propel and use each other. You're going to have stories that you can tell your generations and generations to come.
Yeah.
You're going to learn things that you can't learn at other universities, I'll say. Because you have to learn how to endure in certain situations. Just go into an HBCU. That is what's going to mold you into an adult, and it will prepare you for experiences in the workplace and in your professional life that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. Awesome. So Tuskegee, you guys should know, admissions, Davie is out here doing your work. He's always recruiting somebody
That's right.
for you. So we're at the end of the podcast. Again, thank you so much for being here. But if people want to keep up with you, because I've said several times, hey, follow him on social media. It's a good time. And talk about where they can find you and what you might have going on, anything that we should be looking out for.
Yeah, absolutely. Social media is such a big deal to me. I've got a lot of handles, so get your pen and paper out, okay?
And they will be in the show notes. So
okay, perfect. So if you would like to follow me on my personal Instagram, I'm at I am Davie. I used to be at I hate Davie, but then a lot of fans would message me like, why do you hate yourself? So I was like, I had to change that. But I am Davie on Instagram. Then on Twitter, I tweet Davie. Snapchat, I snap Davie. So I kind of tried to stay with the whole, you see. Now on Facebook is a little weird because lo and behold, when you're on Survivor, you get so many friend requests, I can't get any more friends.
I think it's like 5,000, right? Is the max.
Right. So I've maxed out on Facebook, but I did create a fan page. So if you want to search Davie Rickenbacker, you'll pop up and you can follow my fan page. Like I said, I'm trying to propel this voice acting career. I just finished my courses and I'm ready to go out there and audition.
Nice.
So just be on the lookout for I Speak Davie.
Okay. I love it.
Now, if I could plug the people that helped me
out. Of course. I don't mind at all.
Okay, cool. So, as again, I got this T-shirt that has, it's a line that creates T-shirts just for HBCUs. And it's got Tuskegee, SC State, Claflin, FAMU, and Payne. It's a nice shirt. You'll see it. And I got it from my friend Shannon Dillard at HBCU Unity Tees. So you'll check that out. I'll tag them on my Instagram. Before I got here, I went to the barbershop and got me a nice cut from the hair surgeon _ on Instagram, and he's my barber from Tuskegee. We out here in everything, okay? I got one of my close friends here, Todd. Right. I got one of my close friends here, Todd Hodgkins. However you pronounce your name. Todd, what is the name of the business though?
Oh, Shot by _ Hodgkins.
Okay, so Todd's business for photography is Shot by Todd
Shot by _ Hoskins.
Shot by _ Hoskins. Yeah. And he's a great photographer, man. I hit him up last minute, and he was able to just get here right on time for me and just support me. Anyone else that I need to plug? I guess I do need to say hey to my mother, who's going to be listening to this, Hazel Rickenbacker, and my aunties, Margie and Shirley, and I think that might be it.
So everybody, we're on live right now, a little quick live, because Davie was giving shout-outs, shout-outs, I should say, here. But yeah, we love that here on the HBCU podcast. So if you missed anything that he said, don't worry about it, because we will have everything in the show notes. We'll have all of his handles. We'll have all of the information that he said and all the people that he shouted out. So follow us at the HBCU podcast. HBCU.com, the HBCU podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and that way you'll be able to keep up with everything that Davie has going on. Yes. So, hey y'all, we have some people saying hi.
What's up, guys?
Somebody said they love your shirt, and how can they obtain one?
HBCU Unity Tees, okay? We'll put the link in my bio.
Plug. So yeah, that was a quick one, guys. This was a quick live. I really probably could have just, did a story, but, it'll be there real quick. You can see upcoming episodes, so look out for this man right here.
Yes. I got to thank you for creating this platform, Natasha. This is what we need. I feel like after I did Survivor, I became so much more woke for some reason. I think it was, just the negative part where the fans, they may not get us sometimes.
Right.
So having platforms like this, I really appreciate, and they are necessary as HBCUs are.
Awesome. And I think, too, that it is great that people have, just really turned out the way that you have. I honestly have reached out to people and I thought they were going to say no and they said yes. And they just really love their HBCU. So I appreciate you guys coming out here, telling your story, sharing with the people what really, makes all of our HBCUs special, and then showcasing the fact that you go on to do really great things.
Absolutely.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And with that, guys, we're going to wrap it up.
All right. To you.
Thank you so much for listening to the HBCU podcast. We have so much more HBCU content on the way, so make sure you subscribe to the podcast, rate the podcast, and visit us at thehbcupodcast.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the HBCU podcast. Like us on Facebook. We love you for listening. Until next time.